The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all.
TV party tonight! TV party tonight!
Oh, we got nothing better to do than watch TV and have a couple of brews.
Don't want to talk about anything else.
We don't want to know.
We're dedicated
To our favorite shows.
Oh, my circuits!
Everybody loves Hypnotoad.
Scary dog!
Pearson and Blurnsball.
Futurama!
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of TV Party Tonight. I'm your host, Alexis Hejna, and tonight we're talking the first spin-off from The Boys. We are getting enrolled in Godolphin University. We are here to talk about Gen V. Joining me, my co-host for Tripped Up Trivia, and the man I go to whenever I have questions about comics, Mr. Jesse Starcher.
Hey, Alexis Hejna, I am excited to be here talking about Gen V. A surprise for me. It's funny because you asked me, like, hey, are you interested in being on the show? And I was like, I haven't even watched it yet. And I was like, well, this will give me a reason to watch it. And I will tell you, I was not let down.
Definitely. I will admit, and we'll talk about this more when we get to the end, that it was not as good as The Boys, but I still really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's, if you're going to, I mean, okay, we'll say The Boys is a 4-star show. We'll say this is a 3.5 for me. So, but yeah, I agree. This was good.
I agree. So yes, The Boy or Gen V takes place in the same universe as The Boys. This takes place post season 3, and it is leading up to season 4. Now, from what I read on IGN, this is directly going to be connected and leading up to season 4 of The Boys. But I can't find any other sources that confirm that.
Okay.
But we do know that Gen V has been renewed for a second season.
Yeah, like I said, I had just seen mentions of it being like abridged, and I'm kind of glad that they're using something that they've put out there that's in this universe, not just as a one-off, but actually something that matters. So I'm glad it actually matters in the universe, because sometimes when you have spinoffs like this, they just may not ever acknowledge it even existed. Not going to happen here. Not going to happen here.
So this takes place at Godolphin University School of Crime Fighting. This is where young superheroes, or supes, put their moral boundaries to the test by competing for the university's top rankings and a chance to join the 7. Because, yeah, that's what we all want to do. Be even closer to the deep.
Oh. And his talking gills, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. And his octopus fetish. Ugh.
Oh, man.
So, yes, this takes place after season 3, although the 7 now is more just the 3, because they only have Homelander, the Deep, and A-Train. Everyone else is either quit, in hiding, or dead.
Yeah. They went through some pretty big changes there at the end of last season.
And we start with a character named Marie Moreau, played by Jaz Sinclair. She's a hemokinetic. She can manipulate blood. She's got a tragic past. When her powers first emerged, she accidentally used them to kill her parents.
Yeah, that's yeah. I felt so like expecting what was going to happen, but was still horrified by the events that unfold, where her mom, in a very motherly way, was going to check on her when she went to the bathroom. And of course she had gotten her period. And I think clearly that was traumatizing in of itself, and when her mom walked in there just to check on her, it frightened her. She had a lot of emotions hit all at once, and she ends up slicing her mom's neck, and her mom dies on the floor. And her dad comes in, and again, hemokinetic. That's a great, I've never heard that term, but it makes absolute sense because she can control the blood. Well, she's trying to control it. At this point, she can't control it. But
she's freaking out. And so the blood, she basically makes blood knives.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of that scene in the recent Mortal Kombat movie where Sub-Zero freezes the blood into a dagger or sword, and then yeah. But so just imagine that, but Marie's dad gets it through the skull.
Oh gosh.
So Marie is put into basically like an orphanage for Soups. She has a younger sister, Annabeth, who we have not seen yet. She was there in the opening episode, and we haven't seen her again since.
No, we haven't seen her in the present day.
No, she has essentially severed all ties with Marie. She wants nothing to do with her. She blames her completely for her parents' death, and she has just completely cut ties with her.
Mm-hmm.
Marie gets a full scholarship to Godolphin University. She's wide-eyed and innocent, and she wants to be a hero. You know, she is just exactly what you think about. She's like Billy Batson. What she wants is just to help people and be a good person. And she is so in the wrong universe to do that.
Right. Yeah. You're being this school and its affiliations are not the right place to actually put super heroics into practice. Because again, it's just teeming with what's the best word? It's just corruption, I guess. Maybe
corporate corruption.
Corporate corruption. But yeah, she's very determined. You know, she gets this opportunity because the way things are for her before it's just like any other kid that's wanting to go to college. You know, I want to get accepted. And those 3 words, I want to get accepted, whatever. That is the theme. I'm not counting.
Okay, we're going to do counting lessons on tonight's TV party tonight.
To get accepted. That's 5.
There we go.
Those 5 words are the theme of this show, I swear, because how much of what all these characters that we're going to talk about go through just to feel some type of acceptance. It's prevalent throughout this show. But yeah, she's all excited. Things weren't looking great for her, but she gets accepted to this prestigious superhero university, and things look to be on an upturn. She's very determined. You know, she's aware that the cards are kind of stacked against her because of her past. So when she gets there, she wants to make a statement and she wants to succeed. So that's kind of what drives her once she gets there.
Yeah, that's actually kind of a running theme, I would say, in the boys' universe in itself, is the idea of acceptance versus reality with corporate corruption and peer pressure as major shapers of this, because it was very similar to what we saw with Starlight in season 1 of The Boys. All she wanted to do was be a hero.
Right.
And the first day she shows up, the deep sexually assaults her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And she, unfortunately, she had to make some horrible decisions in order to try and secure her spot there.
Exactly.
So yeah. That theme is very, very prolific throughout that and this show for sure.
Very much. So we meet a couple of other characters. We have Emma, who is Marie's roommate, played by Lizze Broadway, otherwise known as the name Little Cricket, who has the ability to change her shape or her size, either from small to regular. We find out later in the series she can also go big. She just doesn't use that very much. It was a very tragic story in that her powers manifest through bulimia, essentially. She has to throw up to shrink.
Right.
And she talks about how she has all the symptoms of bulimia, and then you find out her mother is the one who's been pushing for her to do that, and her mother taught her how to throw up and everything. And it's horrible, especially because we see that she's kind of trying more to be sort of a public figure, kind of an actress. She wants like her own TV show sort of a thing at first. We see her doing a web series where she's boxing. What was it? Her pet mouse or pet hamster?
It looked like a hamster or something like that.
Yeah, it was cute. So yeah, she wants that, but at the same time, she has to go through literal hell to manifest things like this.
Right. It's not something that she could just turn on and off without going through some kind of horrific experience in order to get there.
Mhm.
And that's kind of like the same thing with Marie. Marie has to cut herself in order to use her power. She draws her own blood in order to use that. Emma's got to do something similar by making herself throw up. She also has to watch her calorie intake, and it's very, like, just like you said, there's so much kind of hidden behind the scenes on, watch what you eat. And if you eat too much, you got to get rid of it. And it's almost like she has to physically do that. She has to do that also in order to use her powers. But yeah, she's going to be Marie's roommate. We meet her. She's just like you said, she's fighting her hamster. And then she has, I guess, a bit of romantic trouble, having a hard time finding a solid boyfriend, or at least someone
who wants to be with her, not just because of her power.
Right.
Because, oh my God, we get a scene of her sleeping with a guy, and he convinces her to go tiny. So we can see her holding on to his dick.
This show, these creators, all right, I don't understand why we have to have so much penis violence in this show. I mean,
I was gonna say, we thought the penis violence was bad in the season 3 opener of The Boys, and it was.
Yes,
it was. That's a scene that stays with you.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
But yeah, we see a couple of guys get their dicks mutilated.
Bad. It's really bad. It's just like, it's like a staple. Like at some point in one of these shows, you have to see a large, gigantic penis or something happen to a penis. I mean, we did see some flashbacks to, oh my goodness, what was the name of that facility? I can't remember, but it had the one. Yeah. Okay. So if that's what it was, they had the prison where the Russian...
you're talking about the facility the boys where Lamplighter was working. Yes. Yeah. Oh God, the guy with the giant, like 3-meter long penis.
You don't even see the guy. Like, he's in there because his penis whaps up against the window and comes back down. You're like, all right, I know who's in that cell. But yeah, the penises are off. The penile scale is just insane in this series. And yes, there is some horrible, like, you will close your legs and just wince at some of the stuff that happens in these episodes. But yeah, Emma and her, the guy that she first meets, and he talks her into doing the thing, get little. It's, again, it's so twisted and just enough to make you go, oh, this is horrible, but I can't believe what I'm watching.
Yeah. But you also feel for her because she's doing it because she thinks, okay, maybe I can get him to, stick around if I give him what he wants. I do not support, women just do what the man says or anything, but we have all been there in a romantic setting where somebody has been like, hey, what would be really cool or what I'd really like. And in our heads, we're going, I don't really want to do that. But at the same time, we're thinking maybe I should just get over my squeamishness because I like this person.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, now we've never had to, make ourselves throw up to make ourselves tiny to, hold on to his dick like we're climbing a tree.
So weird.
I know, right?
Oh man.
But we identify with Emma. We know what she's going through. She feels very alone. She has a horrible relationship with her mother, who has put so much pressure on her to continue this kind of stuff. Yeah, that scene where her mother's trying to get her to she finds out that her study partner outed her bulimia on social media. Oh my God, that girl was a nightmare. But I do love that in the final episode, when the Wi-Fi goes down, she's actually screaming, I can't post. How are people gonna know if we die? Oh my God, it's like if Gen Z could be summed up in one sentence.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that I wish I could remember that character's name, but yeah, she was. She had
Justine Garcia, a soup influencer with enhanced durability and a healing factor. Because we see Jordan punch her in the jaw, and the jaw breaks, and she
that's right. And then she
just fixes it like freaking Deadpool just.
yeah. She is completely oblivious to how her, I guess, fame. Her attempt at getting famous or her attempt at getting follows actually affects other people. And at one point I was like, she's going to be the stereotypical, well, I use that information to get more followers. But when she gets confronted with it, it's almost like she doesn't understand. She didn't intend to hurt that person's feelings because her motives were, altruistic, because she wanted to show that what was going on with this person was bad, but didn't give a second thought to the fact that Emma was going to be outed, and she didn't want that information out there.
It's like she has no concept of how to act as a human outside of being an influencer. Yeah. We have the scene of again when the Wi-Fi falls and she's freaking out about that. We have the scene where she goes to apologize to Emma for outing her, and she's got her I guess it's her roommate taping the whole thing and live streaming it. And she's so sincere about it. She's like, I want people to know that I'm sorry. She has no clue. None. And that's actually I think a really big thing about in this series is the idea of how we as a society interact via social media and stuff versus how we act in real life, because frankly the line between those is getting stronger by the day, and we are seeing so many people now who are completely oblivious on how to act outside of social media. Everything for them has to be, how can I push this? How can I use this as an influence? How can I use this to get viewers? I run my own company and I'm on TikTok, and I don't like being on I hate that I had to get on TikTok. Right. I fully admit it. I'm on TikTok and I do like making some of the videos. Former broadcasting major, doing that kind of stuff is fun. But at the same time, like, I don't want this to be something that I have to think about. I don't like making stuff and thinking to myself, okay, now how can I use this to promote?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I hit myself in the head every time I think to myself, how can I use this to promote? No, stupid, don't do that, because you just want to anchor yourself into reality.
Yeah. And it's tough to do that because unfortunately, where most of the possibility of getting recognized and going viral is something that you would, as the best probability of that happening is on TikTok. So I'm right there with you. I do the same thing for my podcast / show that we do for Unspoken Issues and for source material. I've ventured into the TikTok space a couple times. I like, but the thing is that you're just, okay, how much effort am I going to put into this in order to see results? And do I really need to be successful? Do I really, really need that to happen for me? It's a completely different story for me because I'm not basing my livelihood on the podcast, so what I'm marketing or whatever I'm putting on there, these people on this show, it's a different story. They have their livelihood, and we haven't mentioned, this school has this real messed up like ranking system.
Yeah.
It's
not just grades, it's not just testing, it's not just physical performances. Let's say like your average college. Okay, you know what? I've never actually asked this. Did you go to college?
I did. Yes.
Okay.
I went to
Where did you go?
Yeah. Ohio University. So let's say they had a ranking system for who the top students were. They would probably be who's getting the top grades, who's the top athletes are. Right.
Things like that.
Right.
But it's all about who's trending the most, who's getting the most hashtags.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so messed up.
It really is. And again, it feeds right back into that corporate greed that we were talking about. This is this is getting you into the 7. This is getting you into, what is the name of the company that owns the 7? I feel like Vought. Yes. Vought is all behind this. They're the ones pulling the strings on this. And they know what sells and what doesn't. So the person that's going to be part of the 7, they've already kind of got figured out by looking at these rankings, the ranking system. And if somebody moves up in the rankings unexpectedly, well, let's start pushing that person. Maybe there's a lot of investors or whatever that believe in getting this person up there. Completely the wrong idea for education and also serving your community as a superhero.
Exactly. Imagine like if politics worked that way, just because, serving your community. Yeah. Think about like people who go to school to be, well, not just politicians, but just like community organizers and things like that.
Right.
It, and I know I'm saying this with just a touch of irony, just a tiniest little grain of salt.
Okay, who's next on the roster?
Next up, we got Andre Anderson, a ferrokinetic, I think is the term for magnetic manipulation.
Okay.
I think that's what it's called. He's played by Chance Perdomo, who we last saw in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. He played Ambrose, and he was one of my favorite characters on there, so I'm glad to see him getting some more roles. And he is the son of another superhero who goes by the name Polarity. Played by Sean Patrick Thomas, a fairly prolific actor there. Seen him in a lot of stuff. And he's got a lot riding on his shoulders to be the next Polarity.
Right.
To the point that when his father is taken out of action at the end, he essentially just says, okay, go call my wardrobe person so we can alter the costume to make sure it fits you. It's like, it's not even a word about what did the doctor say? What's the prognosis? What are we going to do? What's my next step? It's okay. My son's taking over as the superhero because we got to keep the name alive.
Yeah. And when we go through these characters, you're going to notice a lot of, what's the best word? I want to say cliches. That's probably not it. But you're going to see this Andre is the guy who's in the university, and his father was, there's this legacy there. He went here, and therefore you're going to go here, and you're going to carry on the name. Marie is definitely the determined one. Emma, I wouldn't call her an outcast, but I mean, you wasn't expecting her to be involved with all these people at the beginning of this if it wasn't for Marie rooming with her. And in some of these other characters, you're going to start seeing some other tropes that are definitely prevalent in a lot of, going to college and trying to fit into society. But Andre is very powerful. It was hard for me to kind of gauge what his powers were initially. Then I started to, everything that he could manipulate was metal. And I was like, oh, we got a Magneto here, do we?
Yeah, I think it's a case of like, if you just watched the X-Men movies and you missed the line from Charles Xavier, it's like, I met a man who could control magnetic fields and control metal. You would just assume Magneto was just telekinetic. He just had a fondness for metal.
Right. Andre gets into some hot water when he accidentally kills a woman at a club. That I think that happens that's either episode 1 or episode 2. It's
episode 1. He's showing off his powers, and he floats a piece of metal over, and a woman just kind of jumps in the middle of it as it's going across and slices her neck.
Yeah.
And Marie, they all try to run because they're like, oh crap, this is going to get linked back to us. Marie's the one who stays and saves her life because she can actually she realizes she can control not just her own blood, but others' blood. Yeah. And she actually stops the bleeding long enough for her to get medical attention.
It was neat because, I live reading comics. That's a lot of what I do just week to week. And watching this show with Marie and her blood manipulation, I didn't know exactly where we were going to go. Oh, she can only control her own blood. And then I started, that right there was, I was like, when I saw that happen, it was a revelation to me, like, oh, that's big. I mean, that's pretty powerful now. At first, I didn't think all she was doing was making lassos out of her own blood, or, some weapons of some sort in order to try and control it. But then watching her do that, now you're starting to see, okay, well, she's definitely, pulling off some heroics here. And she is showing everybody that she's a little bit more, including herself, that she's a little bit more powerful than what you might have expected.
Yeah, and unfortunately, she ends up getting scapegoated because the university just can't bear to point the finger at their top students. And that leads us to a character who is technically a reoccurring character because he's not listed as part of the main cast, but I think he's in every single episode, although only one episode we see him alive, and that is Luke Riordan, otherwise known as Golden Boy, played by Patrick Schwarzenegger. Yes, folks, Arnold Schwarzenegger's son. And you know what? Credit where credit is due. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. The kid's a good actor, and he is insanely good looking. He's got both of his parents' genes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I had no idea who that was. And I bet you the cast probably scrolled across my screen 3 or 4 times, and by episode 5, I'm like, wait a second. Did that say who I thought that said?
It's like, yeah, I'm sorry. That's a last name you recognize.
Yeah, you're going to know. You're going to know at that point. And then I was like, wow, I was actually really impressed. Yeah. So Golden Boy, who, well, we don't know what is happening to him, but we realize that he's kind of recalling these memories about his brother. You don't know why he does what he does, but he ends up killing, oh my goodness, who's the dean or the guy?
Clancy Brown plays Richard Brink, the renowned professor who actually, he does this right around the same time he finds out that he's going to the 7. Vought is essentially cleared. It's like, oh yeah, we want Golden Boy in the 7. Because one of the last things we see before he kills Brink is Brink showing him a picture of his new fireproof costume. That he's going to wear. I mean, apparently there's a running gag whenever he trains that he always burns off all of his clothes, and all the girls love to watch it.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
He's a handsome man.
He is. Sorry, the dude, like I said, the dude got his dad's good looks. Okay.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, he is essentially recalling these memories, and he like goes into almost like, I want to call it a trance or something, actually I think what's probably happening is he's recalling what happened. Essentially leads him to murdering Brink, and think Brink, by the way. And then we have the confrontation.
Hashtag think Brink. That's an actual title of an episode.
Yes, it is. And then he has the confrontation with Marie, which really isn't much of a confrontation at all. And he flies up into the air after apologizing to Andre. And he goes into the air, and then he explodes. And so that kind of sets Marie off to being noticed, number one. And of course they manipulated things to make it look like she saved the campus because Golden Boy went crazy.
I never understand how Golden Boy committed suicide, how he was able to make his body explode like that. I mean, did he just crank up the heat that much?
Yeah, I have no clue. The only thing I could think of is like a similar, I mean, Human Torch can do something called like a supernova or something like that, or Nova Flame. That's what I'm thinking of. But anyway, he doesn't kill himself, but I assume that's probably what happened. Like he probably got so hot that he just exploded. I'll go with that.
Yeah, they never really explain it. We see him just fly up into the sky. The fire gets a little brighter, and then, handsome man goes kablooey.
And every part of him rains down onto everybody.
Yeah. And of course, it wasn't Marie who stopped him, but the person who really fought him was actually our next character, Jordan Lee, a gender shifter, who was played actually by 2 actors, London Thor and Darick Forgive me, I do not honestly know how to pronounce the last name, if it's La or Lu. It's L-U-H. So I'm not sure where the strength of the vowel is. Right. And Jordan's a very interesting character because this is a really fascinating way to portray a non-binary character. Jordan literally shifts between genders, and both genders have different superpowers.
Yeah.
When Jordan is in their feminine form, they can fire energy blasts. And in the masculine form, they're essentially super strong and bulletproof.
Right. Yeah.
And oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, very interesting character. As we kind of get into this first and second episode, you're kind of worried about Marie falling in with the wrong characters, because everybody that's friends here is Andre, Luke, Golden Boy, Jordan. We're going to talk about Kate here in a few moments, but you're kind of wondering like, oh, okay, this is the upper crust of this university that's high in the rankings, and Maria's kind of fallen in with them. So I will say that Jordan kind of put me off at first because I was like, oh, this feels like somebody that's going to be manipulative and things of that nature, but that's not the case. And yet to watch this person who essentially and really good friends with Golden Boy. And I don't know about really good friends, but regardless, they had to fight off Golden Boy. There was a great fight there at the beginning between the two.
Insanely well choreographed, since you have Jordan switches between, essentially it's like a 2-on-1 fight because Jordan keeps switching between genders to use whichever power works really well. So you have to realize that this scene is being fought and they have to switch out the two actors constantly. It's really impressive filmmaking.
Yeah. And that's what about the point when that fight started happening, I started to realize that, Jordan's got some high morals, I guess you would say. They definitely they didn't want anything to happen to anybody else. So there was definitely a heroic streak in Jordan. But yeah, it was like you said, it's a great way of showing a non-binary character that shows up and is able to switch. And it makes you think. I mean, it's kind of touched on a little bit throughout the series, but it makes you wonder like what it would be like to live as that person. And I think that's what they've been, in real life. That's what a lot of people are trying to get across, trying to make you think, trying to make you understand like how difficult it is to kind of do that sometimes, or how freeing it can be. But anyway,
yeah, you have a scene. There's a big gala benefit mid-season, and Jordan goes to it, and their parents show up, and you can and you find out they don't really have a great connection with their parents, and it's very, I hate to say it, it's very similar to what you see with the parents of trans folks who they're just like, you were originally my daughter and now you're my son. And it's very clear that Jordan's parents have not accepted their ability to do this. They just want them to. I cannot remember for the life of me if Jordan was originally a boy or a girl before their powers manifested.
I'm pretty sure they were a boy because the father, I remember, said you were my son.
Okay.
And yeah, boy, did I sit there and go, I'm sure that so many people have had to hear that.
Absolutely.
And it's heartbreaking. The good thing is, I mean, yeah, you're right. There's not a great relationship there. At least there's, they're trying, I guess you would say. A lot of times that whole situation doesn't go well. The parents and, their son, daughter, whatever, they just cut ties because they can't handle that, and they don't believe it's right or whatever. So, but yeah, I mean, they just
can't get over it.
No, they can't. But yeah, they're a good character. I would say Jordan is probably up there as one of my favorite characters in this series.
Definitely. But again, both actors play the character so well. That has to be one hell of a challenge to have two characters or two actors playing the same character, realizing that they have to put in the exact same kind of emotion and attitude. It can't just be like a total switch between this isn't split personality or anything like that. Yeah,
this is, well, I mean, I'll use the word that you have to make a fluid transition. I mean, you have to do that though. Okay, I'm taking you out and you're coming in and here's your motivation. All right, go for it. And it has to look good. It has to come off of the screen like, okay, I believe that happened, and it could go sideways real easy. And that doesn't happen at all here.
Yeah. We also have Marie and Jordan forming a relationship. And again, I like that because these actors had great chemistry together.
I'll agree.
But it also gets a little weird for both of them because this is something that's very unusual for Marie. I don't think she's really had much in the way of relationships, period.
Right.
Growing up in an orphanage. And Jordan also talks about how it's very weird for them because they talk about their first relationship when they were younger was with a girl. And the girl kept trying to make them be a boy the whole time. And Jordan clearly is not sure because they know Marie is attracted to them when they're in male form. Marie is straight for the most part, from what she's not interested in girls, but she wants to be with Jordan in both forms. So there is a real dialogue there. And I really love the chemistry. I love them together. I love, at the end when they're fighting together and Marie's like, see, we do go well together. I like that. Just that cute little moment. It's cute.
Yeah. I do enjoy their relationship. And I think I had a lot of fun. The episode where they lost their memory or their memory got wiped and they're like trying to figure out what's going on. They wake up in bed together and they're trying to figure. I was like, this is fun to watch them try and work through this, which is great. It's good.
And that, of course, brings us to the next character, Kate Dunlap, played by Maddie Phillips. She is a telepath. She's a telepath to the effect that she can touch you and control you. What was the name of the X-Men character who did this?
You're talking about Rogue?
No, wait, not Rogue.
No. I kept thinking of Rogue, and I say that because of the gloves. That's the only reason I kept thinking of Rogue this whole, and that's not, then I'd have to remind myself, that's not her power. Her power is not, Rogue's power is not touching people and controlling them. She absorbs them.
I hate to use this as the example. God help me for bringing this up. She's the love interest in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh, are you talking about Emma? It's not Emma Frost.
Not Emma Frost. Silver? Is Kayla Silver something?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I have to
go to the internet immediately.
X-Men. God forgive me again for bringing this crappy movie up. Silver Fox. Kayla Silver Fox.
Silver Fox. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I do not remember.
Who in the comics actually had accelerated healing. So once again, proof that movie got everything wrong. But in the movies, or in the movie X-Men Origins Wolverine, she has a similar power that she can touch you and manipulate you. And that's the same thing Kate does. She puts her hand on you and she can get you to do anything.
Who played Kayla? I'm looking at her right here. Played by Lynn Collins. Okay. For a very brief second there, I thought that was, the lady that played the Wasp, just for a quick second.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not going to remember her name, but I want everybody out there in podcast land to scream it at us right now. And we're going to move on to the next subject. Yeah. Kate. All right. So Kate, so, okay. What did I expect from Kate? We got
we see her starred as Golden Boy's girlfriend. She's another one of the top students. She kind of has this like perfect blonde girlfriend material going on. And again, we find out she's got just as tragic of a backstory as any of the others here.
Yeah.
I know it's a stereotype that most superheroes do not get good origin stories. It's like nearly every superhero is orphaned, abused, tortured, something has gone wrong in their life. And guess what? This show does not shy away from that. All of these characters have just gone through hell.
Yeah. What was her backstory for her again?
She accidentally made her brother wander into the woods and never come back. Okay, how many of us who have siblings have gone into a fight with them and said, "Oh my God, get lost."
Yeah.
Or I want you to go away. Or it's like, "Oh, will you just get out of here and never come back?" We've all said that to our siblings.
Right.
Sorry, I got something in my throat there.
You're right.
Well, Kate said that and didn't realize that her powers had manifested, and she made her little brother wander into the woods and never
be seen again.
Back. Yeah. To the point that her mother builds a steel locking door, like something from a freaking bank vault, to lock her in her room because she doesn't trust her. She's too scared of her own kid.
Yeah. Yeah. When Kate first showed up, I was like, again, another example of them, the showrunners, subverting my expectations. So what I expected here with Kate was like, oh, she's going to be the one that runs this little group, and we're going to have some run-ins with Kate, and that's not exactly what we get until
we were expecting kind of a Mean Girls thing.
Exactly. My favorite moment from Kate I think, has to be when at that gala you were talking about, and this everybody starts talking about their past. She's the one that says, she's the one that says, do not feel sorry for your parents. Don't feel sorry for what you did. And because all of these people that we're talking about, their parents gave them that experimental Gen V, or what is it called? I assume it's just V, right? What is it called?
Yeah.
Is it called Gen V?
Something like that. No, not Gen V, but what the hell is it called? Hang on.
It's something V. I cannot remember what it is.
I
But
can't
yeah,
either.
all the parents, like opted in, give my kid superhero juice. And they all did it, just like she said, to make a quick buck. And they unfortunately felt the consequences of their actions in these horrific ways that the powers manifested. So it's
Compound V. Compound V. That's
there we go. All right. So Compound V, you ask these people to put it in your children, and this is what happens. And unfortunately, all these terrible things happen to the kids. The kids are obviously trying to recover from this trauma. But that was one of my favorite episode moments, was when she said, look, don't worry about what you've done to your parents, because they're the ones that did this to you. And unfortunately, that just happened. At that point, I was like, okay, Kate's got a level head on her, at least at that point, from what I've seen.
This is, I'm saying, the superheroes in this universe are not like the X-Men. This isn't like Rogue's backstory, where her powers just accidentally manifested and she had no one to blame but just her own genetics. Imagine if Rogue's mother had given her the reason. Can you imagine the comic series if Rogue's found out her mother was the reason that, and I'm not talking about Mystique, stepmother, or her daughter, no, her blood mother was the reason why she could not touch anyone.
Right.
I mean, could you imagine the amount of trauma that she would go through? She's already the most traumatized character in the freaking X-Men.
Right. It'd be horrible. It'd be like, we would be kicking her while she's down. I feel like if we did that to her, if we wrote, but yeah. So yeah, we find out. So, I mean, are we going to kind of spoil some things with Kate here? Like what happened?
Spoiler alert.
Get ready.
And the people who tune into my show know we talk spoilers, because we're going to talk about how this is going to tie into season 4 of The Boys. So obviously, we're going to talk spoilers. So, but yeah, it turns out Kate is not that innocent, and admittedly, I think a lot of that is just how fucked up she is because of what happened to her when she was young, and the fact that she was taken in by a woman who gave her medicine that she thought was helping her, but was actually limiting her powers, and was actually developing a virus to kill them all.
Yeah. She was involved with Golden Boy, who we're going to talk about his brother here in a second. He's kind of like mentioned quite a few times, and then he actually becomes a thing in these episodes. But essentially, Golden Boy is obsessed with the fact that he believes his brother is alive. And over and over again, when he starts to figure out that he is, Kate steps in and wipes his mind and has him forget it. And then things start to filter back into his brain. And of course, that's what leads him to killing Brink and also killing himself. So, Kate's been clearly manipulating a lot of things behind the scenes, albeit just like you said, because of how messed up she is.
And just how much Shetty and the dean of the school has been manipulating her. She feels like she owes so much to Shetty, and Shetty is the one who's been telling her, okay, now we need you to do this to help him. And then, she finds out Shetty was planning on killing all of them anyway.
Let's talk about Shetty and why she was planning on killing all of the superheroes.
Admittedly, that was a really good callback to the first season of The Boys.
Yeah, yes, it was.
Probably, I would say, one of the top 10 most definitive episodes of the series so far. Queen Maeve and Homelander let a plane crash because they realized they can't save everyone. So Homelander decides, fine, we're not going to let it get out that we can't do our job. Everyone's going to die. Turns out Shetty's family, her husband and her daughter, were on that plane.
Right. And that is a great callback. Just like you said, using something like that to be the basis of what this season or what this series is on right here. It's good. It's really good. And I could understand like why Shetty would feel that way. I mean, we all hate Homelander. I mean, we just can't, we all hate Homelander.
There is no question. Okay. I'm just calling this now. You know, we always hear people talk about the best villains and the best heroes in movies and TV. Homelander is going down as one of the best villains in television history. When he shows up at the season finale, again, spoilers, I actually recoiled a little bit. I was like, oh, shit, run,
what is going to happen?
Run!
Get ready.
And it's so, you know, I've talked so much about this actor who plays him and how almost hilarious it is because he's like the nicest guy in the world when he's off camera. I've seen him do interviews with other staff members. He's got brown hair. He always has a little loose around his head. And he's got blue eyes, but I don't think they're as piercing blue as Homelander's. And when he's off camera, he is just so much fun and so nice. And he's laughing. It seems so easygoing. The minute that hair is slicked back and he's given that gaze, it's like, oh God, please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. He is so scary. He really is.
Yeah, there are a couple villains that I can think of that probably get reactions offset by their fans. Sometimes, even though it's the actor, you can't help but see the character and have a loathing for them. Negan was one. And I can remember a story a lady was telling me about how Negan, Jeffrey Dean Thomas. Boy, I've got that wrong.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Now, I loved him before Walking Dead, so I don't fall under the Negan thing because I remember I fell in love with him from Watchmen. I loved him as the comedian.
Yeah,
he was so good in that role.
He was good. But I've heard stories about how, like, you know, he walks around and maybe also the governor too. But anyway, they could not escape their character. You know, the old lady that was watching Walking Dead sees him and hates him, even though she's not making the correlation. She probably knows that he's an actor, but cannot get the fact that he brained Glenn out of her head and immediately would rather throw something at this man for portraying him. I feel like Homelander is the same way. I feel like anybody who watches The Boys and if they saw this actor, I can't remember his name, you probably know it, but if they saw him out and about, you just can't help but be like, oh my gosh, I hate that guy. But
here, let me look up the characters.
Please
the
do.
actor's name real quick. Anthony Starr or Anthony Starr. There's no H in there. Yeah, it's very much the I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy who played King Joffrey in Game of Thrones. That kid actually retired from acting because fans were not able to separate him from his role. He played that role so evilly.
Wow.
And I give credit to Anthony Starr. He's making con appearances. He's touring. He loves his fans. And thank God he is look, I don't want any actor to have fans hate them because you know, I don't want this to turn into the WWE and you're playing the heel. Okay. Any actor deserves to be loved by their fans and to not have to worry about people thinking they are their character.
Right.
I'm really glad this isn't a thing for Starr. And I hate that happened to the kid who played Joffrey. You know, he was a great actor.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't deserve that. He didn't deserve to essentially get chased out of Hollywood because he played the role too well.
Yeah. That's sickening. Next up, let's talk about Sam.
Yes, Sam, Luke's brother, played by Asa Germann.
Asa Germann. Now, I swear I've seen him in something else, but I cannot place it.
He doesn't have a Wikipedia link, so I'd have to go into his IMDb to find him.
I could be completely wrong then.
Yeah, who, again, very tragic. We find out this poor kid has been trapped in a research facility and has been essentially having his DNA harvested to help his brother, who is repeatedly having his mind wiped so he doesn't know he exists.
Sam, his mental illness, did that manifest because of the experiments, or was it was happening before, right?
You know, I could be wrong. I could be
can't
100% wrong,
remember.
but I don't think it was given a clear answer. I don't know if he was, I mean, I don't think it's bipolar. I think it might be like a little bit of
Schizophrenia. Yeah.
because of the way he sees like the TV characters talking to him.
Right. Oh, the best. Reminds me of the best scene, the puppets. When he
Interesting way for Amazon Prime to show it X. Okay, I know that the show has not shied away from blood and gore.
All right.
But I just sat there going, it's like, well, this is certainly a way to avoid an NC-17 rating on something. That was freaking hilarious. The glitter.
Great.
The
glitter
this
was great.
The confetti used as the blood. Oh my God.
He rips a puppet in half. And I mean, it's a puppet. So you're
It's a
okay
puppet.
with that. But
all felt in glitter.
It's not stuffing that comes out of this. It is red glitter that just starts flying all over the place. And it looks great because you get the sense like, oh man, that is some massive amounts of blood that's coming out of that right now. But it's not.
Yeah.
And that scene was done very well because at the end, you see what happened in reality when all these dead bodies laying around, but it was a great way to get that across. There's been a couple iconic TV show puppet scenes, and the other one I can think of is Angel, which I don't know if you've ever seen the puppet.
I never got a chance to watch
Okay.
Angel.
All right. That's the only other one that I can think of. I'm sure there's a couple others out there. Aside from the Muppets, I'm just setting them off in their own league, but there you go.
No, that scene was just okay. It was awesome. It was shot incredibly well. There is an art to puppetry, and there is an art to violence in puppetry and finding ways to kind of let your brain fill in the gaps. It really is. I mean, just the way they made the glitter fly everywhere. It's just like, that's disturbing, but from a practical perspective, I'm incredibly impressed.
Right. Yeah.
But
so Sam's a little, he's definitely got some mental illness. We have the interaction where Emma goes to rescue him, where she gets in there and they create a bond. She helps him escape.
He basically falls in love with her.
Yeah. They clearly, they have a relationship. They end up sleeping together. And you want to, hey, I'm cheering him on. I'm wanting to see him, kind of move things forward. But the way that this season ends, the two people I didn't expect to actually have the same view was Kate
Sam and Sam.
Kate and Sam. I didn't expect them to be like, oh yeah, we want death to all humans because they want to kill us. Well, guess what? We're going to kill all them.
But it makes sense because they're the ones who have suffered the most from Shetty. Sam has been a patient in the woods. I mean, they don't show everything that happened to him, but they show a lot of it, and it looks unbearable. He's pretty much been tortured.
Yeah, I think the first time we see him at least getting experimented on is the time when he's laying face down and they're
shoving
taking
an
ice pack. Or ice pack. An ice pack would be gentle and kind to this poor guy.
Yeah.
An ice pick to his spine. Yeah. That's what it was looking like. It was not pleasant.
They were harvesting spinal fluid, basically.
Ugh, man.
Yeah. That's the thing is that to Sam, he has never been shown kindness by humans. Every human he has been exposed to has treated him poorly.
Right.
And to Kate, the humans that she trusted have completely turned and said they were going to double cross her. They're the only ones, I think, who have really had that kind of mindset. Everyone else has been able to see it's like, no, not all humans are bad. Mm-hmm. So not all humans are evil. They still, they are able to work this out a little bit more. Kate and Sam have just been manipulated and screwed over too many times. They've lost their ability to care. That was actually also interesting, that to make sure that he doesn't have his guilt plaguing him anymore, Sam basically gets Kate to wipe his emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He stands there and goes, I feel nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That was creepy as hell.
Well, and it's like sometimes a lot of people, I'm sure, would love to have that option, to not feel anything, to not have the guilt, not, of some kind of, traumatic event that happened to them or the memory of that traumatic event. But the one thing that you can see in this series, and it gets across, is that you can't escape your past. You can't forget about your past, no matter how much you try. So I guarantee, you know, at some point, it's going to catch up with Sam. He's going to definitely feel, you know, he's going to feel what, and I think even Luke did that at one point after he realized he was told his brother was dead or something. He's like, I don't want to feel anymore. And she did the same thing to him. And of course that kept coming back and coming back.
Yeah, I'm picturing next season, Sam's going to be confronting Kate on why he's having reoccurring nightmares.
Right. We got to talk about, I mean, you don't have to go at length, but I mean, there were some, just about every other episode you had somewhat of a boys adjacent appearance. Jensen Ackles shows up here, which was great. Oh my god!
I have no problem with more Jensen Ackles in my life. Hey, I was a Supernatural fan for years. Okay.
Yeah, I get it. My wife is a fan too. Trust me.
Yeah, we had Jensen Ackles. We had Claudia Delmit coming in as Victoria Newman, who is also a hemokinetic. That's actually what I liked. We finally got an understanding better of what her powers are,
right?
Because we only had seen her basically make heads explode. So I just was looking at it, goes like, oh, so she's got scanner's ability, whatever you call that. You know, but it's like, no, she's also hemokinetic. And I also like that she's the one who essentially tunes Marie into saying, you don't just control your own blood, use other people's blood. I love that she's able to use that when she fights the one invisible guy. Right. She can actually sense his blood. We got him. Again, we got Anthony Starr showing up at the end. We got I apologize, folks. The weather here has been jumping around like crazy, and it's driving my allergies insane.
It's all right.
We got Ashley Barrett, the CEO of Vought.
Yes, Ashley showing up here. My goodness, and her, I don't even know how to describe her. She's so annoying to me, and that's not how she's supposed to be portrayed.
That's the talent of the actress. She was also in Jessica Jones, and she was just as annoying in that. That actress, it's like, look, I'm sure that actress is an incredibly nice woman, but she plays just the most annoying characters. But you know what? Credit to her. That takes.
Yeah, put it on the resume. It works. She does a good job.
You know what? We need annoying people in movies and TV shows.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else. If there was any other, I think that's it, isn't it? Was there any? Except for the very end, the very, very end, we got a nice little. Was it after credits?
Mid-credits scene.
Mid-credits.
Because we also have. Oh God, what was her name? Why is she not showing up here? The woman who essentially ran the boys with the CIA. Grace Mallory. Okay. Yeah, we have her show up because Shetty tries to get her on her side with the virus, and Mallory, who is dedicated to trying to stop Homelander and keep superheroes under control, even she looks at that and goes, line? There's a line, and you have jumped so far over it, it's not even funny.
Right.
And she calls someone, we don't know who, she calls someone and says, keep an eye on her. I'm willing to bet she called Butcher.
Yeah.
Because he shows up in the post-credit scene. He's found the woods.
Yeah, real quick, let's kind of set up the end of this show. We already talked about how Homelander shows up. Essentially, the prisoners' experiments of the woods get freed, which is below the campus. They come up and they start looking just for any human to kill. Well, that's kind of the idea you get here.
I love this. Are you a soup? Are you a soup? No. Burn!
Yeah, melts her face right off. But yeah, they're running amok amongst the campus. The campus is going crazy. So our main characters are trying to quell the rebellion, if you will, while some of them are like, well, let them go. And finally, Ashley. She's like, get Homelander. We need to get a copter out of here. Get Homelander on the phone. Bring him down. Homelander shows up, and just after Marie explodes
And
Kate's
Jordan
arm.
have saved Ashley and the rest of the
Yeah, they're the
trustees.
heroes. You're
Yeah.
watching this show and you're like, hey, our heroes have arrived. They finally saved these people. We have that horrific scene where Marie blows off Kate's arm as she's getting ready to reach out and touch Jordan, I think, right?
Yeah, she was going to brainwash Jordan.
And so anyway, her arm explodes. She's screaming, and then Homelander shows up, and you're like, all right, Homelander, here's your chance. Redeem yourself. Nope.
No.
That ain't happening. Not for that character.
I hate to say it because just how terrifying he is. I hope he never redeems himself. This is a character I want to stay evil.
Yeah,
it's fun to have just such a great, terrifying villain on TV.
And a lot of that when he was dealing. To go back to The Boys, when he was dealing with his son, you wanted him to be like, okay, be a father here, be somebody that we want you to be a father. We want you to actually be a role model for.
And then he pushes the kid off the roof.
Yeah, you're like, okay, there is no redemption for this guy.
No.
But yeah, he shows up and you're thinking, okay, it's going to be the end. He's going to put things right. And then he nails Marie with an I-beam and everything goes black. And what a way to like make you think, oh, wow, this is the way that's going to end. I remember turning to my wife thinking that this was going to be a one-off and he actually killed everybody and it's going to roll. And I said, what a one of those tragic endings for a show, and that's going to be the end. It's just another way to get the boys and Homelander over as villains. But no, that's not how it ends. Why don't you go ahead and tell them what we end up finding out later after that?
So essentially, Vought has used their wonderful little spin doctors to have the news announced that Marie, Jordan, Emma, and Andre were the ones who ran amok and killed everyone. Now, I don't know. Well, actually, yes, I do know now that I'm wording it out. They can't say that they released the prisoners from the woods or anything. They have to cover that up. So they actually have to pin all those individual murders on those four. They cannot say they led a bunch of other soups into a rebellion or anything, because then people are going to be asking, well, where'd these other soups come from? They weren't students.
Right.
So yeah, those four have been scapegoated. And they're claiming that Kate and Sam are the new Guardians of Godolphin. They're the true heroes. We end the season with our four real heroes in a doorless, windowless room. That's what I was trying to say. In medical gowns. And we have no idea where they are. I'm assuming probably deep underneath the main building for Vought Industries. And does look like they know how they're going to get out.
Right.
But again, it makes sense that they would want, if Homelander would to have Kate and Sam be the ones to join him. Homelander is essentially declaring war on humanity. He is, from what we saw in the last season, with him lasering the guy who threw the can at his son, the beer can.
Right.
He is essentially saying, I'm all powerful. You can suck it.
Yeah.
And he's just saying, it's like, I'm a superhero. I'm better than you. And you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. And these are two perfect soldiers for that. Kate and Sam are perfect for that war
exactly.
that he plans on waging.
Not only are they perfect for manipulation, but could you imagine having someone with Kate's powers on Homelander's side?
Yeah, absolutely. Kate's is, I mean, yeah, you're talking about one of the premier powers out there. Controlling somebody else just by touch is. I mean,
and she can read minds. We see multiple times that.
Oh yeah,
that now that she's off the pills, apparently not only limited her power to push, as what she called it, but was also blocking out hearing everyone's thoughts. Now it's a little overwhelming for her. I mean, I can only imagine. We've seen in various other media with characters like Professor Xavier in his early days when he talks about hearing everyone's thoughts and thinking he was going crazy, and how hard it was for him to learn to block all that out. And obviously Kate's going through the same thing. We have the scene where she kills Shetty, and she has to learn to block out the fact that all of her friends and her boyfriend Andre are saying, oh my God, she killed someone. We just killed her. Why would she do that? She's a monster. She's a killer. And she has to block that shit out.
Yeah.
So Yeah, having her as Homelander's, sidekick, for lack of better words, is pretty damn scary.
Right. So then we had our mid-credit scene where Butcher shows up. I'm assuming, what are you thinking here? Where is he at? Is he above, like, where they are?
Well, he's definitely at the woods. He's investigating the now emptied woods facility. You can tell from the print of the wallpaper on the walls.
Got it. I was wondering,
which again is why I think Mallory Mallory called him about Shetty.
Okay. All right. I mean, this had all the stuff that I wanted from the boys, in my opinion. It's over the top gross moments, some great thoughtful moments. You know, we got there's plenty of commentary here on many things that our society's talking about. Especially social status. That's the big thing. But there's other things that are underneath all of this, and they use all of that to their advantage. I think Gen V was definitely worth watching. I mean, I'm glad I did, to be honest. This was something that, I sat down with my wife, she's not a huge superhero fan, but she's watched all seasons of The Boys with me. She's watched this show with me, and she's walking away with, like, she's enjoyed it. So you can't say much more than, if there's not a big superhero fan in your family and they're adult enough to watch the show.
They're adult enough to watch Emma hanging off of a dude's dick like she's climbing a freaking redwood tree.
She's just horrible.
Or how about the guy who could read minds, who gets more destruction of P&I.
Rufus.
Oh God.
The guy Rufus, he ends. I think that was his name. He ends up. Some great moments in here. Remember when Kate tells him to, like, every hour on the hour he has to go hit his nuts and yell Jumanji.
Okay, here's the thing that made me die though about Rufus. That's another actor from Supernatural.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's funny.
Yeah, he played. Well, I hate to put in these terms. He's essentially the Antichrist. His name is Jack. He's literally the child of a human and an angel. And he joins the Winchesters on their battle in the last few seasons. Great actor. He does the role well. But seeing it with the bleach blonde hair and realizing he was about to commit freaking date rape on Marie. Oh my. And then, she wakes up. Thank God Jordan, snaps her out of it just in time. She sees this guy standing over her naked, and we all know where this is going. And how did Andre put it? Well, it was like, wait, you're telling me Rufus has to spend the rest of his life peeing sitting down?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Again, adult. Would you let your kids watch this?
No, I mean, no. If my daughter, who is 18, came to me and said I watched Gen V, I'd still be uncomfortable. Yeah, all right. Well, as long as just listen to me talk about it on the podcast. I don't want to talk about it with you.
Yeah, it probably begins to be like, okay, if you want to watch it, fine. You're not watching it with me. I am not sitting here with you during those moments.
It's so weird. Like, there is, I guess, to the eight, and it's the best way to put this, because I'm trying here, is that you never saw this on TV. Like, they take stuff to the limit on this show. Boys, Gen V, whatever. I'm not used to seeing this much gratuitous nudity and then horrible bloodletting to said nudity sometimes. So, but yeah, it's just so it's weird to actually have to be like, hey, this is a show I enjoy, but be aware, friend at work, that there is quite a few penises that are going to show up in this show.
So again, this is supposed to lead into season 4 of The Boys, and it makes a lot of sense. I am looking forward to seeing if Sam and Kate do get recruited to Vaught's cause, because again, they're down to the 7 is down to 3. They got a lot of slots to fill, and it would make sense for them to promote Kate and Sam into members of that, especially now that they've spun them as to the heroes. We want to see the real 4 heroes get rescued. We don't know if Billy's going to be the one to rescue them, especially since he hates superheroes. But I think Billy and Marie, who is the truest of an altruistic hero, one, just the one who wants to help. She does not want the glory, the social status. She doesn't want to be part of the interviews or anything. She just wants to be a hero. And I think someone like that would be a good counter for Billy Butcher, because to him, all heroes are just attention-seeking glory hounds.
Yeah.
And we also have the virus. Victoria has taken it. She has erased any and all evidence that it existed by killing the doctor who made it. I can't help it. I feel really sorry for that guy. Even though he was making it under direction from Shetty. It was clear he wasn't comfortable with doing this, making it that deadly, and he's got a family. It's like,
that was the rough part about it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Victoria has this virus now, which will kill Homelander, but will also kill her and the rest of their kind. Yeah. And Billy's now has the opportunity for a weapon which will kill Homelander, but will kill his wife's son.
That's true.
Who, even though, oh God, what's the son's name? I'm totally blanking.
I didn't do enough research. Name. I've got the internet here, but I don't know.
I did enough research on Gen V. I didn't have time to do research on the boys either, even though I've been watching that show since day one. But even though his stepson is a super, I don't think Billy would want him to die. He wants him to come back and realize this isn't what his mother would have wanted. His mother would not want him to side with Homelander.
Right.
So is Billy going to be the one who has to make the decision, kill Homelander or let my son live?
Yeah. And again, it's more Billy Butcher's been through a lot of that. Been through a lot
He's only got a year to live.
Gosh. Yeah. It's going to be, it definitely adds a great plot element to the upcoming season. Just to see where we're going to go with this. My personal favorite expectation is to watch these characters play off of each other and how they're going to write them. I think that is what when I say expectation, I guess that's what I'm looking forward to. How's that? That's I want to see that happen and see how they're going to do that, because there's, just like you said, we've got a lot of different motivations for each one of these characters, and it's great to watch them play off of each other. And we may see some great chemistry on some of these with some of these characters as well, and these actors. And I can't wait to see what unfolds.
Definitely. But at the same time, I am hoping that we get enough of a recap, so to speak, with the boys, because I know a lot of people who haven't had a chance to watch Gen V who are waiting for the boys to start up, especially since we can go ahead and date this review. The SAG strike is officially over. The actors are back to work.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah.
I was worried. I didn't want it to go so long. It didn't have to go. I didn't want it to go this long. But
yeah, there's a handful of people. It's hilarious how many guys on our network have been saying they wanted the strike to continue.
Oh yeah,
and how many of them said, "Screw this! I want my movies back," because they're pissed off about their favorite movies getting delayed.
Right. It's really, I don't know if it's impacted a lot of these fall shows. I assume it has, but about this time, I feel like me and the wife are usually sitting down and watching, some kind of sitcom on Hulu, at least 2 or 3 sitcoms in a row, and then be like, oh, okay, well, we caught up on our week of stuff. Haven't seen that at all this fall.
Definitely. So, but yes, we should hopefully be hearing more about season 4 before too long. But again, I really want them to do a nice recap where they explain in the series without being too as previously seen kind of a thing, because we're going to have a lot of people who didn't get into Gen V, didn't watch it. This. And we don't want the boys to be turned into the Marvel Cinematic Universe where it's, oh, you didn't watch this? Well, now you have homework.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. That's going to be a really delicate balancing act. For me, if I was to see like, okay, we're not going to treat Gen V as the important stepping stone that it was to get to this season, and, just kind of, I wouldn't say wash everything away, but, to kind of restart with these characters anew, it's going to be tough to, balance how they're going to do that with the new audience that has no idea who these people are. So you're right. I want to see enough of education for the people that are going to be viewing next season, so they will feel comfortable with these characters being there. And I don't want to see them washing away a lot of what happened here just so we can have like, okay, this person only has 2 or 3 things that they're supposed to do this season, and then that's it. But the problem is that, that's what Gen V is for, to showcase these characters, and then they can do their bit parts in the next season of The Boys. I want them to have as much weight, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't want them. I don't want them going off and okay, this is the Billy Butcher show. Well, it kind of is, but I mean, I really want Sam and Kate to play an important part too, because if they're there, I want to see them shine if they can.
Yeah, we don't want them to be window dressing or cannon fodder.
Right. Or, exactly. Or cameo appearance.
Mm-hmm. Now, so again, Gen V is available on Amazon Prime, 8 episodes. Less than a month after its premiere, it was renewed for a second season, but that was last month. So obviously no word yet on that. And season 4 of The Boys is still in production. We don't really know much about that except for a few casting updates. So we'll see where things go with there. We'll definitely be reviewing The Boys season 4 when it happens. Jesse, I'm hoping.
Oh yeah, I'm in.
Awesome. I don't remember. Okay, someone else was helming me TV party tonight when The Boys season 1 and 2 and 3 were reviewed. It wasn't me. So
I assume it was Radulich. And I could have swore at one point Gavin was on an episode. I could be wrong. I know Gavin has read plenty of The Boys. I've talked to him in the past, but I think he might have showed up for one of the shows that we did on one of the series. But I think Radulich was part of it anyway. But anyway.
All right. Well, we'll see when we get dates announced, and we'll definitely be taking a look and seeing hopefully how these characters intertwined with the new season.
See how it goes. So
yeah, go ahead and check it out if you're 18 and older and you're not,
Absolutely.
And your parents are not going to freak out with you watching this.
And there was a lot of like trigger warnings too, in these episodes. Suicide, obviously,
violence,
self-harm,
violence on a campus.
Yeah. It's be ready because this is Garth Ennis's, that's his it is his boy, what is the word? It's
bread and butter.
There you go. It's shocking. Mm-hmm. It's going to take something and make you go, oh man. Last night we were on what were we doing? We were doing the Metal Hammer of Doom, and Dog Welder came up. You ever heard of Dog Welder? That's what Garth Ennis. Okay. Well, he welds dogs. He's a villain that welds dogs. Garth Ennis creation. So
okay.
I'll send you pictures.
Please don't.
But anyway, that's the point of that is like that's Garth Ennis's bread and butter. That is he's going to shock you with something. So yeah, that's what you get in this show, and they do it to a great to shock people like they do, and actually have a great show around it. It's good.
Definitely. All right. Jesse, you want to go ahead and do your plugs real quick?
I do. I'm getting to them right now. So, hey, if you have a chance on the W2M network, I do a show called, do 2 shows actually right now. It's the Source Material Comics podcast. And on that feed, you can find that show, and you can also find the Unspoken Issues, which is a show dedicated to 90s comics. So recently, this past week, which was Monday, the Source Material Comics podcast dropped, where Mark and I talked about I want to say it was Dynamite. It was a Dynamite book. Elvira meets Vincent Price. And it would have been nice to have Dorian on here just to talk about that for a quick second with him.
He would have loved it.
The book was great. Mark and I, the way that we've been doing recording is we sit down and we usually do 3 books at once. So they're really short. Like we'll talk for about a half hour on one. And of the 3 that we talked about, he really enjoyed this one because there was a lot of Hollywood involved here. Clearly that's what you're going to get. But Vincent Price is dead as ever, but Elvira is hanging out with him and they're doing some buddy cop stuff, and it's great. So if you get a chance, you can check that out. That aired this past Monday. And I'll go ahead and plug what's coming up for Unspoken Issues next week on Monday. 90s comics. I'm jumping into the extreme universe with my podcast on Nightmare. That's Nightmare with a K, and it came out from Image in 1995. from the brain of one Rob Liefeld, but penciled by one Marat Michaels, and also written by the guy that came up with Ambush Bug. So if you know who he was part of it, I should say. Him and Keith Giffen palled around, and he was definitely part of Ambush Bug from DC. Anyway, I wrote an article about that book. I also did six videos on the source material YouTube page. You can watch me talk about each issue, and lo and behold, there's pictures. It goes with the video. It's amazing. You can see what I'm talking about on there. And so I did a triple threat on that one just because I've been wanting to do something with that book for probably 2 years. So if you're into 90s Image comics, you could check out Nightmare. It's about a former mob enforcer who has a panache for Don Quixote. Yeah, everybody's like, oh, well, sign me up. But that's it. I think that's all I've got going on. I haven't been going around doing much anything else, so I hope you get a chance to check that out.
Well, you do have one more thing, Mr. Starcher.
I do.
Yes, a week from today, the 15th.
That's right.
Yes, Jesse will be joining me and David Wright for another TV party tonight discussing Hell of a Boss Season 2, Part 1.
Part 1.
Because there's 5 more episodes coming up next year, and we said, forget it. We're just going to go ahead and do a video now because we want to talk about this.
That's right. That is right. I am in the process. I'm going to binge all of those over the weekend and make my notes. And always a good time talking about that show. I love it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I've kind of sold my soul to Mark this month because he's got me coming in for quite a lot. In addition to that, next week, also, I will be joining Robert for the Daniel Hollywood discussion of the Marvels. And I have another TV party on Thursday. We're going to be talking Loki Season 2. I need to finish that.
Yep.
Final week of November, I will be coming back to Damn You Hollywood with Zach Strobel to discuss Wish, the latest animated Disney film. Genuinely looking forward to that. And I have another TV party tonight where Mark and I will be talking Upload Season 3. He and I have talked about the past 2 seasons, one of our favorite shows. Really looking forward to that.
You went off of like the con circuit right into the podcast circuit, which is like, because there wasn't much of a break in between.
Free time? What free time? Who the hell's got free time? I don't have it.
You have none.
Yeah, it's like I'm either slaving on the Comic-Con circuit or I'm slaving for Mark. Right. But since Mark doesn't pay me, I do have to do the plugs now that actually pay the bills. So let me get this plugged in. Come here, you. And add to stage. Yay, it worked. All right. Yes. Honeysuckle Rose Creations, where fashion meets fandom at the intersection of geek and chic. We are getting ready for our Black Friday sale. It's going to be kicking off weekend of Thanksgiving. Everything in both our Etsy and Handmade at Amazon shops is going to be 20% off. And as always, we will be doing our charity drive. Any order placed on either shop between Black Friday and Christmas Eve, for every individual order, we will be donating $5 to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. This is a drive that we've done every year. I love being a part of it. I'm looking forward to it. As you can see, we got a ton of really unique upcycled items made from various game pieces. We got Scrabble Tile, Monopoly, Clue, tons of stuff. There's bound to be something in here for the geeks in your life. Come take a look. Again, this is our Etsy shop. You can also find us on Handmade at Amazon. You can always follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I still refuse to call it X. And like I said earlier, I am on TikTok. I hate that I had to go on TikTok, but I'm on TikTok. But you know what? I can at least put in fun videos of Cleo. When all else fails, you get the dogs to pay the bills.
There you go. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah. How did Robert put it? It's like, well, at least now your dogs are finally, earning their keep.
We'll have to get me a couple around here then.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to remind you, when I first started doing video reviews with you guys, I sat on the floor in front of my couch because I didn't have this setup out here. And the videos almost always ended with Eddie and Cleo climbing on me, biting and pulling and and just, like biting my arm and pulling. It's like, Mom, we want to play. It's like, Mark, the dogs are getting impatient. Can we wrap this up?
Yeah, as soon as you hit the ground, any animal that you have is going to be at least checking you out or on top of your head. That's happened to me quite a few times when I was a kid. My gosh.
Very much so. Mark actually sent me a video today on TikTok, a segment from when we reviewed Doug Days on Disney Plus. And I remember that review. I couldn't review in the living room because we were having the carpet clean. So I set my laptop up in the bedroom, and I was sitting on my bed, and Cleo is climbing all over me throughout the entire freaking video.
That's funny.
Yeah, and I'm just sitting, and now I look back and I'm like, I wonder if having the dogs do that ever actually added to our views.
Maybe it did. You never know. I mean, dogs, yeah, they command an audience sometimes. It's pretty easy.
Yeah. Eddie, I need to find a way to get you back on camera, pal. You're gonna up my screen price. See, falling into the freaking social media thing again. It's like, great, now I'm figuring out how to exploit my dogs.
Exploit your poor pups. Unbelievable.
I hate the world we live in sometimes.
I hear you.
All right. Thanks for joining us. For Jesse Starcher, I'm Alexis Hejna. Be well, be safe, behave.